Welcome to my world. Come on in and make yourselves at home. Welcome to my life. I know everything's gonna be all right. Welcome to my world. Oh, won't you come on in? Welcome to my life. It's known as the Tiger's Den. Greetings to all of my subscribers. I want to thank you for being with me for as long as you have, and the new subscribers that's coming on in. We want to say greetings and thank you for your time. This is from Toothless and the moderators. Welcome to the Tiger's Den.
This midday, the attorney for rapper Young Thug in the YSL trial will not have to report to jail this weekend and spend Father's Day behind bars. A ruling from the Georgia Supreme Court stated Brian STEELS' 20-day jail sentence pending the outcome of his appeal.
Greetings and welcome to the Tiger's Den. This is the voice of Cheryl, and I am Toothless Tiger. Happy Father's Day. I wanted to make this video in honor of Mr. Steele. And actually, it's Mr. and Mrs. Steele. As you can see, YSL STEELS. The Y stands for you. The S stands for save. And the L stands for lives. You save lives. And I want to thank you. I haven't always been looking at the Young Thug trial. I'm a 65-year-old retired woman. Disabled. And I came to YouTube to help uplift fallen humanity. Try to leave some of my knowledge, wisdom, and skill sets that I've experienced throughout my 65 years with the younger generation, because I truly believe that children are our future. What's going on in Atlanta to me is an atrocity, and it's really sad. And what's happening in that, in my opinion, criminal injustice system in the YSL courtroom is pure tyranny. Mrs. Steele, I applaud you for your patience. You have the patience of Job. The honor and dignity of a noble man. Your professionalism is unmatched. And I've been watching, I guess now, for about 4 or 5 months. So a lot of the things I didn't even know that was going on. I love rap music, by the way, and I love some of Young Thug's songs. I don't know a lot of them because my favorite rapper is no longer with us, and that's Mo3. But I do listen to all genres of music, and I certainly appreciate these young men with their creative minds to be able to take words and put them with beats and make the world move. For the most part, growing up in the ghetto of Dallas, Texas, we pretty much know that a lot of the things these young men sing about or things that they've seen in their lifetime. These young men are even 35 years old, most of them. Some of them may be, but most are not. And given that the DA actually prosecuted educators is mind-blowing and certainly disheartening. And I know that she was not the DA at that time, but she was the lead prosecutor on the case. Not only did I remember the case, but I went back to research after I heard about the Young Thug trial. I wanted to know more about this person. Downright shame. But unfortunately, as a people, and I consider myself Asiatic, we are the people that they call Black, Negro, colored. I believe in only one race, and that's the human race. And I truly believe in nations of people and ethnicity. But I also believe that those are tools that are used against us as a people so that we won't come together and understand that it's a human issue, not a racial one. But people can think what they like. It's not up to me to decide. But what I want to do is just educate the young. It's much easier to teach truth to someone who does not know than to try to get someone who's been taught wrong their entire lives to change on grandma or my mama or my daddy because they were taught what they were taught. One thing I love about you, Mr. Steele, and I'm talking to Mr. Steele, but this video is for whoever will look at it. I'm talking directly to Mr. Steele, and he may never see this video, and that's okay. But I want him to know that he means something to the world. He showed tenacity, honor, integrity, courage, wisdom, strength. A man's man. What is a man's man? Is a man who can teach a boy how to become a man by way of example, not just lip service, not just performance, but in action. Because I was taught love is an action. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And I believe that. And the professionalism that he exemplifies every time he speaks, again, unmatched. Unmatched. The sincerity in which he speaks. Forgive me, my voice is going and coming, coming and going. But I am a voice for the voiceless. I too advocate for people, but I am not an attorney, nor a lawyer. I don't give legal advice, but I do a lot of reading and researching. And I advocate for people who just can't speak for themselves, either in writing or I'll get on the phone with them and they'll give me permission to speak on their behalf. And I do that gladly because I'm able to do it. And my purpose in life is to serve. And I know you have a servant's heart. You remind me of my cardiologist, Dr. David Lamine. one of the best that's ever lived. Dr. Levine saw me for approximately 9 years, and I didn't have insurance. I had insurance, but he was not on my insurance plan with my job. But because he had been my cardiologist since, let me get the year right, I believe he became my doctor in 1990. Because that's when I got my second pacemaker. I was born with a 3rd degree congenital heart block that wasn't discovered until I gave birth to my only child. And I couldn't believe what the doctors were telling me at the age of 22. Couldn't believe that I needed a pacemaker. And I waited. And I saw many doctors, but they all came up with the same answer. So Dr. Levine was not my first doctor, he was my second doctor when my battery went out. And he saw me for approximately 9 years, even though I couldn't pay him. He loved what he does that much. And he's very, very serious about us, his patients. And everybody at every hospital that he works knows it. And I see that in you, Mr. Steele. Mrs. Steele, you are my shero. I went to your website and I read up on you guys. And believe it or not, these pictures that I took and put on this thumbnail, actually I Googled it. But I noticed they're the exact same pictures that's on the website. They say a great man has a strong woman. Covering him. And as matriarchs, that's what we do. See, whether we give birth to you, whether we marry you, whether we know you, you're still all our sons. You're still our sons. You came from the womb of a woman. And Mr. Steele, I want you to know, and I hope you wear it proudly, you are the man your mother created you to be. I believe that. In my son's actions, I feel the exact same way. And I'm so honored to have him to call me Mama. But what that judge tried to do to you is just unbelievable. Ever since I've been watching this trial, it's been really heartbreaking. You know, since I studied our history, and I started about a year or two after I went off on disability, I retired from the Internal Revenue Service. As a revenue officer. And even though I don't practice law and I'm not an accountant with a CPA, we have to do all the things that you guys do to prepare our cases, to collect for the United States. We had to do a lot of things, and I learned a lot. But to see what's going on in that courtroom, it just makes me feel like I understand the 13th Amendment, and I understand what it says. Slavery was abolished, so we're told, except for voluntary servitude or committing a crime. But even then, they came up with an amendment for us, which is the 14th Amendment, and I'm glad that everybody shares it. But reading history and the little trickery in the wording, we all deserve due process. And from what I can tell of you, you are a man that believes in enforcing the Constitution. You took an oath to uphold it. So did I. So did the judge. So did the DAs. I don't understand those individuals. I really don't. What it has shown me, though, is that this how you can know, and I'm so glad, the judge say this all the time. He says, you all have to know that the world is watching. People are watching. Yeah, we're watching, and we see what you're doing, sir. Oftentimes you're practicing from the bench. One minute you say you're a referee. The next minute you're interpreting what Miss Love meant, as if you know the operation of her mind. And I'm a student of Judge Judy. And unless you're clairvoyant, you don't know the operation of her mind. And if you know her strategy, then y'all must have worked on it together. And I, like you told Mr. Steele, I'm not saying you're doing any of this. I'm just telling you the appearance. You've lost the appearance of integrity, fairness, impartiality. You've lost that appearance. You guys have the odor of mendacity. You're spewing it everywhere, and it really, really, really stinks. I made a flyer. That I want to see if I can pull it up. I am not computer savvy at all, but I've learned so much recently, and I do my best to it's not going to come up that way, so let me try another way. Yeah, I do my best to try to make my show as good as I possibly can, because when you don't have all the great edits, and I have the videos and stuff, it's just what it is, me. An old lady who don't know what she's doing, but I enjoy doing what I do. And I will continue to do it as long as the one or two people that show up to my chat show up every Wednesday and every Sunday. I will continue to do what I do. I need to see how this can come open, because this needs to open up better than this. Here it is here. Let me get it and take it over here so I can share it. I learned that it's more credible when you share. And I was able to make this. And I try my best to teach everyone. The things that we were not taught in school as adults, we have to teach ourselves. And the most important things, the Constitution for the United States, does not give us rights. It protects and ensures our rights. We were given rights at birth, unalienable rights. And everybody should be familiar with the 5th, the 6th, the 8th, and the 14th Amendments. And here's some of the guarantees. With the 5th Amendment, guarantees the right to a jury trial when charged with a crime. Protection against double jeopardy. Protection against self-incrimination. The right to a fair trial. And protection against the taking of property by the government without compensation. And, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know. But, in my mind, I be thinking that, some of this stuff seems to teeter the double jeopardy line. But then they say it's RICO, and the only people that look like that they could be involved in RICO, to me, it's just to me, I'm just a lay person, a nobody to somebody, but I'm a everybody and a everything to somebody. I don't get it, because it looks like they're throwing signs, and it looks like that the judge is working with the state. He's, to me, very disrespectful to every European attorney in that courtroom. And then I think he has something with Mr. Matthews, because he's extremely rude to him as well. Extremely, in my opinion. I don't know what be going on, but with the self-incrimination, and I know that they said that, Mr. Copeland Woody has immunity. I question that immunity, since we have the state constitution and the U.S. Constitution, and we have state charges, and we can have federal charges. It just makes you wonder, because I don't know if his immunity is covered under the federal rules. And I kind of believe that they could not be. That's why Mr. Melnick was in the picture. And in my opinion, this DA, Assistant Chief DA, and the other ADA, Miss Love and Miss Hilton, it is my opinion that they scheduled Mr. Woody because they knew about Mr. Melnick's plans. Now, I don't know how they know, and I don't know if y'all have a calendar that everybody can know, but I do know, just from a few lawyers that I know, that when they're going to take vacation, they do put it on a calendar with the courts. So I don't know if the court clerk or the district clerk, the county clerk, I don't know, because I'm in Texas, so I don't know what happens. And every state, of course, is governed by their constitution, so I don't know what Georgia rules are. And then I noticed, it seems like whenever the judge want to prove up something. Every time y'all give him a case, he wants to know, is it a Georgia case? But it looks like the prosecutors use every state in the union. It's just been my observation, and perhaps I'm seeing it wrong. I don't know. These are just things in my mind that I see. But I believe they really waited until this young man was due to go on vacation to schedule Mr. Copeland so they could pull. Because to me, that was a move. I mean, they really went gangster with it. It's really unbelievable. And you know, when Miss Love was running in whatever little town she was running, was the same time that Bonnie was running for Fulton County. She wanted to be a DA. And you know, she worked in the juvenile justice system. I did a video about her a few weeks back. And where she gets all of her temerity, arrogance, rudeness. And you know, when you have power, you don't have to do all of that. Power corrupts. And absolute power corrupts absolutely. But you can hold power and stand on your square. Remain integral. Live on the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. You can do that. I live it every day. Now, I'm human, and we all fall short of people's expectations, sometimes even our own. We all do that. And that's the scripture out of the book of Cheryl. And if we would challenge ourselves to our, I say it like this, to thine own self be true. And if you're true to you, you'll be true to everybody. Everybody may not accept or like your truth. And perhaps some of these people are being true to themselves. They're really like this, perhaps. I don't know. It's kind of frightening to know that these kind of shenanigans goes on all over America, because it's not just happening in that courtroom. We saw that with the DA. How she just came in and took over and thought she was totally disrespecting my shero, Ashley Merchant. I did a couple of videos about her. I just believe in giving honor to whom honor is due. That's just my belief. But I really questioned, because we all knew when we left that Friday, the judge told Mr. Melnick, you can make a choice. You don't have to go. He said, well, I'll get someone to stand in for me because my client is going to take the fifth. And then the way everything played out, you know, it just, to me, they were like bullies. And being on YouTube, I've been bullied by grown, they call themselves grown, but they're not. They're male figures, Asiatic, and some European, follow the leader, the herd, mentality. I was really, really talked about pretty bad. So much so I filed a federal 1983 pro se, and the biggest problem I had is the interpretation of the $75,000 damages in a diversity of citizenship claim. But it's okay. I am fine. I just did what I had to do because I know I'm not going to harm anybody. None of the men in my family are going to harm anybody by being stupid on a public forum. So I do what I do. And like I said, if I advocate for other people, trust me, I do pretty well for myself. And however it ends, because you know, all of you all know, who knows what a jury will decide. And I definitely asked for a jury trial. But of course, the Northern District of Texas didn't have jurisdiction. And I can live with that. I put that behind me. And I started covering people issues. I do my best to try to teach my people, but I would be losing subscribers, it seems, and my videos don't get pushed out, and that's okay. One thing I love about my son, he told me, Mama, just remember, you're talking truth. And most people don't want to hear it. And I know that's true. I'm a Scorpio. And so I've lived this life for 65 years. Didn't always understand it, but I've definitely lived it. Let's go to the Sixth Amendment. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the rights of criminal defendants, including the right to a public trial without necessary delay, the right to a lawyer, the right to an impartial jury, and the right to know who your accusers are and the nature of the charges and evidence against you. And that's where that ex parte conversation is so very, very crucial and so very, very wrong. See, on my page, I've been doing a series right before I found out about the Young Thug trial on the trial penalty. They're trying to get rid of the Sixth Amendment. The prosecutors, and the research is on federal cases, because you know those prosecutors have as much power as they say God does. It's a lot of power. A lot of power. But I guess they say the same about all federal agencies, because they say it the same about us. But we had taxpayer rights. And we had a whole code that we had to abide by. Several. And we took an oath of office to uphold the Constitution. We swore to give due process. And this is in my period. There was a period before Bill Clinton gave the Taxpayer Bill of Rights that I heard it was, really as bad as it's written in the Bible. But I didn't work in that period. I worked in the period of civilization, and people have rights. And you have to inform them, give them notice. And if you don't, then you cannot enforce. So I understand that dynamic. Again, I'm not an attorney and I don't practice law, but I understand policy and procedures. I was looking at one of the commissioners' meeting in Fulton County because to me it's a culture of corruption. There's so much corruption, and I'm sure it's like that in Dallas, Texas. I'm sure somebody could come and do a great story. Right now, I just haven't heard of it, but there have been times when we've had our share. So I think it happens in all walks of life and all professionals. It's just kind of sad when the people are affected by it. When liberties are taken, we already know the conditions of our communities, most of us with food deserts, no health care, the education shot. And the saddest part is that we don't have platforms or places that we can really have real conversations and quit playing games and, all this DEI stuff and all of this critical race theory, all of this craziness that people talk about. There are real issues, real life issues. And we're more alike than we'll ever be apart. All manner of life came from a woman that looked like me. At least that's what the history buffs say. I didn't tell the story. I just repeated. Too many studies. That's what I've been talking about. I talk about uplifting fallen humanity. Humanity, all humans. And I want to say to the LGBTQ, and I make up all the other alphabets to go along with them because every day they add a new one. Happy Pride Month to you guys as well. Although I am heterosexual, I believe we are all people, and we are who we are. And if you know who you are, live in your truth. Michael Jackson said it better than anybody I know. And I seen where they claim he got that from somebody. I don't believe it, but hey, it could have happened. I don't know. But he said he was starting with the man in the mirror. And he was going to ask him to change his ways. No message could be any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change. Because you can only be responsible and accountable for you. I call it the you factor. Nothing's going to get done for you if you don't do it or participate in the process. I had all these videos picked out that I was going to play, but you don't need to be reminded of all of the humiliation and degradation they try to put on you because you're a man of steel. And it bounced right off of you and you still are respectful. And I honor you, sir. I really do. And YSL, Mrs. Steele, you got a smile on my face. You see, I love love. I love the Constitution, the institution, and whatever ocean you can call it of marriage. I was married twice and divorced twice. But I love the concept. We were created for each other. Let's go to the 8th Amendment. Guarantees no excessive bail, should be required. Nor, and I see I put a 9 in there. I didn't see that mistake before now. Excessive fines. But that's what keeps me from being perfect. Nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. What's happening to you guys is cruel and unusual. What's happening to all of the young men in the courtroom not being allowed to make bond, and they can say with a straight face that these men are dangerous, and a lot of the people that they gave those plea deals to have admitted to some unthinkable crimes. As reported in court and in Mr. Weinstein's affidavit, perhaps even one confession to unalive. And he was told if he did take responsibility, he would be prosecuted for perjury. I believe that because there's something about that young man I believe is good. And I believe that of all of those young men. Look at their conditions in which they grew up. The avenue, everybody. Everywhere there is a Cleveland Avenue. And they got them in every section of town. And they got more than one street. Trust me. The drugs. These babies are coming from crack parents. And not all of their parents did crack. So do hear me when I speak. I'm talking about the era. And so somebody did it. Not all, but some. Grandmamas, 65 and 70, raising newborns. Today, grandmothers are 35 and 40. Isn't that something? In my opinion, and some would say it's just because I don't have a lot of people and don't get a lot of money that I would say this, but in my opinion, this stuff ain't funny. Now, I'm not saying the people aren't funny in their actions, because they are. But we're actually watching, in my opinion, a modern day strange fruit event. Right before our eyes. These women look just like me. Some lighter, some darker. But they're Asiatic. They may call themselves Black, African American, Negro. Whatever they choose is fine. They don't have to choose. But I do. That's fine. Barack Obama gave us the right. These are human rights issues. These are human rights violations. The atrocities that's going on in that jail. My. So very heartbreaking. I will be doing a show tonight about a young man from Texas. Very close. I knew nothing about it. He was the last casualty. of the Fulton County Jail. And they're talking about billions of dollars. I just can't see how people can't understand. These people keep talking about they need money, money, money. When I looked at those hearings with the Senate, who can do nothing but maybe change the laws, but they can't put any enforcement against these people. When the chairman, Mr. Pitts, and I can't remember her name, the CFO, sitting there just sounding ridiculous. They're giving these people millions and millions and millions. And they say they have to come to them with a line item budget so that they can allocate the money. Yet, when they get the money, they claim they're constitutional officers. Therefore, they can do what they want to do with their money. If they decide they don't want to hire all them people they just lied and asked them for the money for, I'll just hire my lover. You know, the one that cheats. The one that cheats on the woman that lie next to him. Boy, his children. That woman. Thick in her body. And ain't no such thing as saying you don't care if he's honest with you. You lying because you paid him over $1 million. So we know you care. And you can say you didn't do that. You know, you got that right. Because we're all presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. I know that much. By a jury of our peers, unless you choose to go with the bench. It's your choice. But I'm here to tell you this evening, looking at it, man, y'all some unscrupulous women. And what it shows me, that's how you can know that racism is something they sold to the masses. Now, what we do know is that ever since we were colonized, we do know that the colonizers were European, they say, but now I want y'all to know, it was some dirty Asiatics that aided and abetted in what has happened to us and what is happening to us today. Look at the preachers, where the DA who sleeps with the married man whose wife is ill, who thought her husband was standing by her. These are the men that say that this is a brave lady. Oh, everybody love her. No, everybody don't. Only the ones without morals and values. Only the ones that exhibit her behavior. And don't get me wrong, I ain't no saint. I do in life, 65 years. I've dated a married man. He was married, I was married, we were separated, and we got together. That happened. And it can happen to anybody. As Nathan Wade said, it's as American as apple pie. All he needs is a Ford truck or a Chevy and a baseball game. Get your popcorn ready. It's sad. It wasn't right when I did it, so let me just tell you that. I'm a Scorpio again. I'm one of them people that, I do things, whatever I've done, and I confess. And I do that. I learned some of that is to relieve me of the guilt. But, you have to forgive yourself and then make amends wherever possible and then move on. I never was into drugs. I was into drug addicts. And I was very codependent. And that's anybody. It didn't have to be my mate. It could have been anybody. I just believed I could help everybody. I thought I was Gisette, I guess. I thought I could just save everybody. I could just help them. I could just love them. You can't do that. I'm giving away thousands on this YouTube. And I've collected I have some very faithful people that has been with me since day one. Not many. And a lot of them don't come in the chat. But they do support me. I have a few members and I get donations. It's amazing. I look at all these people telling these stories about this trial and everything. And Lord knows I know some of their coverage is not as authentic as mine. But again, maybe it's too authentic. Because everybody say this is entertainment. They said looking at these young men being mistreated like they're being mistreated. Most of them said they were on drugs. And then we're not going to even forget when they were young boys. Because they criminalized being a young boy. A young Asiatic boy for sure. You can't sit still. Oh, she's afraid of you. Oh, no, we got to put you on medication because your behavior. Mama don't listen. Most of the time, daddy ain't there. But what I love with Mr. Jeffrey Williams, Young Thug, and Little Rod, because I'll mess up his name, Ryan. Their daddy was in their lives. And it could be other guys there too. And to see Mr. Matthews and his son practicing together, awesome. America get to see all of this. And the world. But the world knows. It's the Americans that don't know. And the ones here. It's sad, but it's our reality. And there was a time they wouldn't allow us to read. Then they gave us the opportunity and told us what to read. And then our minds being as brilliant as they are, some of us just had to get out of the box. And you can't even pay people to read. Not nothing of substance. You probably could pay them to read something. Somebody else's stuff, to beat somebody else out of it. I cannot wait. I don't like hoping for tomorrow in such a way that I'm not living today. But I cannot wait till Mr. Melnick come back in this picture, because the way they're playing this out in that courtroom, this is an episode of either DAs of Atlanta, DA Hip Hop, Judges Gone Wild. I mean, it's some weird stuff. Commissioners on the prowl. You know, you got commissioners costing the taxpayers $1.2 million. She's still a commissioner, just won her seat, or if she's in a runoff. I think she's in a runoff, I'm not sure. Or she has an opponent on the other side, because y'all just had the primary. And I think y'all already did the runoff, I don't know. So, you got a commissioner. You got a commissioner who represent men that stalk state representatives. There was this police officer who was also an assistant city attorney and just got convicted and sentenced for millions of PPP loan activity. You have a chairman of the commission don't know what's going on and pretend like he care about the people. But when I was listening to the commissioners meeting on June 5th, and he asked them to come up with some type of amendment to stop the people that voted them in office from coming down there, voicing their opinions, because he didn't like that they call these people names. He didn't like that. And then you had Arrington, the one who represents the stalker, practicing law as he is the commissioner. I thought that the Constitution didn't allow you to hold two positions where you take an oath in office. But because I'm not a lawyer, I don't know. Maybe I'm just making this stuff up. I don't know. I just thought you couldn't do it. But yet he did. He did. We have a young man, and I saw him at the conference that the Honorable State Representative Misha Maynard gave. His name is Mr. Wesleyday. He's living a nightmare. But this lady get in pulpits and give speeches about black women as being tired of being. Oh, y'all ain't. Y'all not tired. Because you're not being any of that. You're the one looking down on those women. You're not giving them any hope. You got $2 million to test essay kits. Nobody knows where the $2 million went, but the essay kits ain't been tested. You got a sheriff who's talking about we need, y'all need, because I don't live there, but I'm going to say we as a people need $1 billion jail facility, and he can't even run the torn building that he has, and all the millions that he got. You see, to me, these people act like they laundering money. I could be wrong, but to me, that's what it looks like. There's no way you can make me believe they doing all these RICO charges, and then here you got the commissioners just dishing them out money. You're not going to make me believe them people ain't getting paid. And then the European people sitting there talking with some sense. Now, that don't mean that they're not doing nothing either. I'm not saying that, because the system was once all European anyway. And this system been in place. This ain't nothing new. You just got some new players. And so to me, it shows you that it's no racism. Because when you get a chance to do what you claim the oppressor did to you, what do? You do the same thing and oppress the same people. Your people. The ones you know you're ashamed of. That you don't want to come to the conference. And you don't want them to come to the gallows. And then you got a sheriff. A sheriff. Not a sheriff, but a sheriff. Who spent $83,000 on his wife? Businesses that he didn't even report she had? From his campaign money, they say. Do you think I believe that? No, I don't. It's from them thousands from Orca. You know the whale? You know the whale, Orca? You people are ridiculous. The judge tell y'all he wants y'all to be prepared. He wants y'all to be on time. He wants y'all, and he's late. He's taking a break every 10 minutes. I am happy that he's a brigadier general. Happy he served his country because that's what he chose to do. I'm very happy. My brother's, he chose to serve the country too. But unfortunately, he was injured in Vietnam and transitioned by the age of 23. And yeah, he got a Purple Heart and marksman and all those kind of good things. But we don't have a brother that's amongst us, talking, living, breathing. My oldest brother went to the Air Force. So I understand all of that. But this man is making decisions on people's lives and he doesn't even know the law. And I think, this is just my mind, I could be wrong, but I doubt it. I think he confused the courts. And he's really not too familiar with the rules of civil procedure, criminal procedure, rules of evidence. But if you put him over there with them veterans, now he might know a little something about the military. He certainly excelled to a brigadier general. Nothing like General Powell, but a brigadier general nonetheless. That's kind of why the Constitution, got rid of the nobility clause, because giving these people all these noble titles and they're not living up to the Constitution is a problem. And I am neither for or against Donald Trump, Joe Biden, whoever is, throw their name in the race. But I would be more apt to be for Trump than I would be for Biden, if I were going to be. He's more of the Constitution than he is of the demonocracy that some call democracy. And thank goodness for the First Amendment that gives us the right to speak freely. These people act like we are living under tyranny and dictatorship. And I don't care nothing about nobody, mega, maga, baga, whatever. We all should try to make something great. And if it never was, make it great now. Make it great for your family. Learn rules and regulations, policies, procedures, laws. Just because we can't practice law doesn't mean we can't read it. Now, we can't afford Westlaw, but we can certainly get on this internet just like we do for anything else we want. And we don't have to memorize it. We just need to apprise ourselves of it. I don't know. It's painful. It really is. I was born in Jim Crow, at the very end. Civil rights didn't do us no good because the government still had laws inside of laws to keep us out. What are we supposed to be today? The Obamians? Okay, whatever. I don't really know. I really don't. One thing I know about politics, they didn't teach it to us in school. And what I've learned on my own, every bird has a left and a right wing. And as long as both of them are attached to the one head, you do the math. Because it seems like a lot of this stuff in Fulton County, the math ain't mathing. And the lady that's running against Fonnie, I guess she doesn't care if she win, lose, or draw. She thinks she has enough outside of Chocolate City to win, but it's hard to believe she's serious if she's not really seem like campaigning. Maybe she is, and I just don't know it. But the way we use this internet, my. People don't have to, you still probably need to knock doors and get to meet people and stuff, but just imagine what you could do on a YouTube channel. Shorts, TikTok, X, IG, all those places. Imagine the people. Now, we know only the people there in your town can vote on you, but just imagine people that's got 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 people that live somewhere else. And they talk and they influence. Just think about it. I ain't trying to tell nobody what to do, because I ain't no politician. I'm just a mother, a woman who cares about mankind. That's who I am. I believe in second chances. I may even go too far and give 2 or 3, 4, 5, 6 chances. But one thing I learned is a quote I found. And it says, we hurt our own feelings by thinking we mean more to others than we really do. That's why I learned the scripture of Cheryl. I'm going to say it again. We all fall short of other people's expectations, sometimes even our own. You got to forgive yourself and forgive others. Not for them, but for you. See, we didn't learn astrology and astronomy, cosmology. We were not taught those things in school. They said that we couldn't learn those things. Sacred geometry. We can't learn that. Why not? We brought it to the world. Well, I understand. And a lot of people say, oh, that's misinformation. But I'm telling y'all, I've been researching and reading all these things. I've been having some good conversation. Everybody's got a paper out about our plight and how we're treated, how we are marginalized. Everybody knows the story. We just can't talk about it and come together and correct it. That's the unfortunate part. So you just got to live your best life and correct it for yourself. Follow the rules, the best of your ability. Obey the laws and question them if you have a question. The way you resolve problems is by asking and answering questions. And always put a timeline to it. You gotta have a beginning in order to get to where you are and for an ending to come. There's a lady there in Atlanta, and she goes by the name of L.A. Pink. She's a great, from what I can see, advocate for the people. What she does, I'm so in awe of her, because she does what my heart desires, but I could never do. Today I can't do it because I'm not able physically to get up and walk around. I can walk and I can do that, but I'm so winded. I have congestive heart failure. And I smoke Cool Filter Kings. I love my cigarettes. I think if I didn't smoke cigarettes, I probably wouldn't even be here. You know, it's so much craziness going on in life. You got to have some kind of vice. Some kind of ism. And I'm addicted to Cool Build the Kings. I've quit at least 6 times. One time for 4 years. And life happens. Woo doggy. No excuse. Because I didn't have to start back smoking. But I did. I quit for 4 years when I got pregnant with my son. Yeah, it's amazing. And I'm happy for all y'all who don't smoke. I'm very happy for you all. But I just live my best life and ask you to do the same. I believe in the common law. And that is, if I don't harm you and you don't harm me, no harm is done. But if we don't get a hold of what's going on, you know, this woman said that the crime rate has dropped. That's not true. Is something happening in Atlanta, Fulton County, as it is in most metropolitan areas? Daily. And I mean some terrible things. And this lady is talking about. My. How she's brought crime down. But she's got people languishing in jail. People that possibly could be innocent. People that are innocent until they get a trial and convicted. So they all are presumed innocent. Some people are there just for misdemeanors. My subject for tonight will be a young man that was there for such a misdemeanor. He's no longer with us. And there are several that are no longer with us. Again, I was going to show videos of what was happening in the courtroom, but I have a lot of them listed in the description. If you want to check them out, you can go check them out. I decided I'm not going to do that. Mrs. Steele deserves so much better. If he should ever see this video, or if he ever hear about it, he needs to know that it's about him and his wife and what they do for people. Let me read the 14th Amendment. I'm going to read 1 or 2 lines off of their page, and then I'm going to close this out. 14th Amendment guarantees no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, and I got of the United States. I thought I did a great job. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. We've got work to do, people, because these people in that courtroom violated all of that when they had that ex parte conversation. And then they put people on the witness stand and embarrass them, hurt their feelings, make them cry. They gave them plea deals, those that received plea deals, only to impeach them so they can take them back. They forced that young man, and nobody will never make me believe different. I'm waiting on the 25th, and again, I hate to wish my life away, because I truly am grateful for every day that I awake. But I want to tell you, The way that judge is acting, the craziest thing in the world for him to keep talking about the sanctity of his chambers as opposed to the law that he broke with the ex parte conversation. I just will never understand it. He's drunk with power. He thinks he's in the military court. I'm telling y'all. The man is confused. And one thing about persons with disabilities being able to do the job, you gotta be able to do the job. That's what the ADA says. You gotta be able to do the job. I could tell you pretty much about any ADA, EEO. I've had to fight all my life on a public job. People that look just like me, Europeans, didn't matter. I had to fight. And I'm not Miss Seeley. Some might think so, but I'm not. Let's take this down. And I hope that somebody get to this part. Sometimes maybe you could be like me and start at the end instead of the beginning. I do weird stuff like that. We're in the middle. Let's hear a little bit about Mr. Steele. Brian Steele has tirelessly defended those accused of criminal misconduct since 1991 and has built a national criminal defense practice in state and federal courts based on exhaustive preparation, creative and novel motions, skillful appellate advocacy, and zealous courtroom showdowns. And we've seen that for ourselves. Brian has appeared in courts across his home state of Georgia, as well as California, Florida, Missouri, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Alabama, Louisiana, Texas, my home state, Kentucky, Tennessee, Michigan, New Jersey, and Oregon. Brian has been recognized for his skills and accomplishments by peers, numerous organizations and publications, but his record speaks for itself. And see, that's what these people should be living by. Let my record speak for me. The level of success Brian has obtained in both the trial and appellate courts is unprecedented. Brian, let me find that word over here, trial results wherein he has achieved not guilty verdicts in seemingly unwinnable cases reflect the commitment he gives to his clients and his command of the law. Additionally, Brian Steele is Georgia. Let's see what that is. I'm looking on two different screens. Something Tim's most successful criminal appellate attorney, with around 300 published opinions and approximately 45 reversals to his credit. Brian has represented attorneys, medical doctors, FBI agents, judges, local law enforcement officers, elected officials, businessmen, professional athletes, accomplished musical artists, and corporations, as well as the most vulnerable clients, juveniles and indigent defendants. And I believe that. Brian handles cases ranging from RICO, wire fraud, immigration fraud, and money laundering to unaliving, armed robbery, drug offenses, rape, and child assault offenses in both state and federal courts. Brian has represented defendants in the death penalty prosecutions and was even successful in having an entire death penalty prosecution dismissed when he proved his client's innocence. Brian was one of 3 finalists for the Attorney of the Year Award in 2017 by the Fulton County Daily Report. He has been recognized as a Georgia super lawyer every year since 2004, and he has been named in Georgia Trend magazine as a legal elite among criminal defense attorneys in Georgia every year since 2003. Brian was named the Billboard's 2003 Top Music Lawyers list. Brian is also the recipient of the Commitment to Justice Award, State Bar of Georgia, Young Lawyers Section, 1997. Brian was among the first lawyers recognized by the Fulton County Daily Report as the criminal defense attorney on the rise, May 28, 2002. Brian is a fellow of the American College of Trial Lawyers, the preeminent organization of trial lawyers in North America, as well as a fellow of the American Board of Criminal Lawyers. He is a life member of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, a former member of the Amicus Curiae Committee of the GACDL, a former district vice president, and a multi-term member and former chairperson of the Lawyers Assistance Committee, Strike Force of GACDL. Brian was formerly on the board of directors of the Fulton County Conflict Defender. Brian is frequently a featured speaker at seminars and continuing legal education programs. And you can go to his website and you can see his education, BBA from the University of Michigan, a JD Fordham University School of Law, his legal career, partner, the Steele Law Firm, PC, from 1997 to present, Wolf and Steele, PC, 1994 to 1997, Assistant Public Defender, Fulton County, Atlanta, 1991 to 93. His court admissions is the United States Supreme Court. And in case you didn't know, that means he can practice there. United States District Court, Northern District of Georgia. These are federal courts. United States District Court, Southern District of Georgia. United States District Court, Middle District of Georgia. United States Courts of Appeals, 11th Circuit, Supreme Court of Georgia, and the Court of Appeals. And then here are all of his professional memberships. And these are the speeches and presentations that he has given. And I'm just going to take my time. Look at that. And he does not have the big head. And his head could be very big if he wanted. He earned this. with the help of a lot of people, I'm sure. And what I mean by that, the encouragement, the support, because he did the work. I said you factor. He was created for this. And it's a beautiful thing when you're doing what you were created to do. Beautiful thing. That's Mr. Brian Steele. Now let's look at Mrs. Steele. Me and my little computer. In case y'all wondering, I had cataract surgeries last year and I'm wearing reading glasses on this computer. So, just bear with me. Colette Resnick Steele has zealously advocated for her clients, practicing criminal defense and civil litigation both in the state and federal courts for 26 years. She has defended people accused of white-collar, violent, and drug crimes, and has obtained acquittals for clients at every level of the courts, from domestic violence matters in the state courts to RICO, drug defense, forfeiture, and fraud cases in the federal courts. Colette approaches each case with a vigor as she passionately and compassionately advocates for the best interests of her clients, developing creative, well-researched, and detailed arguments. And we know how great she is because she brought her husband home for Father's Day. Thank you, Mrs. Steele. With the goal of providing a comprehensive representation for each client, Colette's practice also extends to forfeiture defense and representation of students in Title IX cases, as well as civil matters, many of which relate to her clients' pending or former criminal charges. She also defends lawyers and physicians on professional disciplinary matters before the State Bar of Georgia and Georgia Composite Medical Board. Colette has a strong and abiding sense of service and volunteerism as a life member of the Georgia Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, which is that GACDL. She has held a variety of positions in the organization. She served on the Amicus Curiae Committee and was the chairperson of the Lawyers Assistance Committee, Strike Force, from 2012 to 2016. The executive director of the GACDL, Jennifer McHale, described Colette and Brian's contributions to GACDL in her retirement letter as follows, and I hope I did not mispronounce your name, Jennifer. The most active committee in GACDL is without a doubt the Strike Force. Every person who has chaired this committee deserves many thanks. Very notably, Brian and Colette Steele, who represented GACDL members for many years. Brian and Colette even took up the causes of some members whose cases didn't fall under the Strike Force, just because those people needed serious help and they were GACDL members. Brian once took on the newly formed Office of Homeland Security, no small feat, and won. I know one member whose entire life changed for the better under Colette's care. No one will ever know what happened, because of her integrity. So please don't ask. For her dedication to the GACDL, Colette was the recipient of the GACDL President's Commitment to GACDL Award in January 2014 and January 2016. Colette is also the past chair and vice chairperson of the Atlanta Bar Association's Criminal Law Section, 1999 to 2000, 1998 through 1999. She is currently serving as a member of the Lawyer Assistance Program for the State Bar of Georgia. Colette's education: J.D. Emory University, 1991. B.A. Brandeis University, 1988. Court admissions: United States Supreme Court, United States District Court, Northern District of Georgia, United States District Court, Middle District of Georgia, United States Court of Appeals, 11th Circuit, Supreme Court of Georgia. And here are her professional associations and memberships, and her speeches and presentations. So you can see we have, Jeffrey has a second mom and dad who wants nothing but the best for him. And it is my prayer that the jury, if this should go to trial, will do the right thing if it goes to the end. But more importantly, it is my prayer that the Supreme Court of Georgia would do the right thing. Someone needs to call the Justice Department. I know they're supposed to be looking at the county jail, but there is really a culture of corruption. And Mr. Pitt said that he didn't want people saying that. But, sir, you guys have earned it. And I really wish that you were as honest as you appear to be, because you too, sir, are not innocent by no stretch of the imagination. And I can only say that from my perspective, what I believe and what I seen when I heard you say that you wanted them to stop the people from having freedom of speech in your chamber. And then Arrington had the nerve to go to Robert's Rules of Order as if the people of the public has to adhere to your decorum, because that's what that's about. It's how your organization is structured. I know you people can't be this far off the beaten path. And if so, then this is a case of the blind leading the blind. And people in Atlanta, I need you guys to wake up. Wake up. Because one thing I heard Donald Trump say in one of his speeches, if you don't know where you came from, you're bound to return. And I promise you, we don't know enough. And we look like we going back real fast. So it's up to you, the individual. Again, I call it the you factor. It is my prayer that these young men get a second chance, all of them. And someone will intervene in such a way that they will want to change their lives. Most said they have changed their lives. But for some, I heard a young man say in one of the videos I looked at tonight, this is the only life I know. And you know, the world is moving so fast. People don't really have time to work with people that are set in their ways and that you can't tell anything. But I want y'all to know, every day you wake up, you get a brand new mercy and a new opportunity to make the right choices and the right decisions. In the face of adversity, it's hard for all of us that are living right. And living right don't mean that you're not doing anything that may not hurt somebody's feelings, that may not be wrong, but it is not your intent to wake up and do something wrong to somebody. It's not. No matter who's hungry, don't do it. So I want to say to all of the fathers again, happy Father's Day. To all of the attorneys, I don't know if I know everybody's name, but happy Father's Day to all of you that are fathers. And even to you, Judge Glanville, and I know that you are a father. Happy Father's Day. And to, I don't know, the people of Atlanta, you've got to participate in your own recovery. If you're going to get out from under this culture of corruption, you got to start learning who you're voting in office. I understand why Fonnie won again. Name recognition does a lot. Payola does even more. So I understand that. But look at the record. Don't listen to the speeches, at election time when she visits the church. And if you've seen her in public, she wouldn't speak. Don't do that. Don't listen to the woman who fired a woman because she thought she was protecting her interests. But she didn't know that she was the culprit that the man was willing to do wrong with the grant money for. Please, don't judge people. Judge their behavior. And if their behavior is not lining up with what you believe to be true and what you do right, then you got to let them people go. A lot of the problem that we're having is we keep trusting people that look like us, who sell us a story that's not true. You can trust anybody if they show you they're worthy to be trusted. And the moment they stop showing you that, that's when you stop trusting them. And that's just what that is. And I know that I'm talking to adults, but we're not viewed as adults. Minority, we're viewed as minors. We can't handle our own affairs. And we exhibit that a lot. As a whole, not individually, but as a whole. You look at the whole, and that's all people. It's not just Asiatics, but we're worse because we were taught the least. Remember, at one time, we were considered property. You're not too far from that now. Look how they're holding that little lady hostage that stood in for Mr. Melnick. The judge is literally holding her hostage. She said, and the judge, I don't know why he never lets the defense finish a statement. I do know why, and that's so they can't get it on the record, but it has to be on the record. And they do everything in their power to show him honor and respect, because you give honor to whom honor is due. But he reminded me of the judge in Luke 18, the wicked judge who feared not God nor man. But it was one little woman that kept coming. She kept coming, and she kept coming till she wore him down. And he pardoned her. This judge will not let the defense complete a sentence. He wouldn't let her get a word in edgewise. And I don't know why she had to sign paper and file a document asking to be released from that case when she didn't put in a document for appearance. I call that CYA. That's what I say that he's trying to do. But it makes no sense. If you didn't require her to file a paper to appear, why does she need one piece of paper? You know, the world is about contracts. And, you know, it just doesn't work one way. Again, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't try to practice. But I have common sense, and I've lived 65 years, and I worked for 40 of those. So, the only thing I can tell you all is to just keep hope alive, as Jesse would say. He's a joke. But keep hope alive. Y'all are in the city where they say the civil rights was birthed. Yeah, well, I don't know what they did other than mistreat the people and mislead the people. And if Miss Love and them really want to do something, go try to resolve or solve some of those Atlanta child unalivings. Go test those SA kits. And Miss Willis, I'm sure you know it, but Miss Love is coming for your job. We can see it, but I would never touch her. Nor do I want to. The figure of speech. This makes me sick when you do that. It really does. And this right here was really interesting to me and the world now. I know that you're Delta, and I know that the judge is an Alpha. I know Miss Love is AKA, and I know the Boule is running y'all town. At least that's what it looks like. But can y'all tell me what this means? Well, nah, y'all can't tell me what this means, but I just want y'all to know that y'all caught on candid camera. And y'all can say that don't mean anything, and both of y'all was just scratching y'all ear at the same time. But that's not true. Just like y'all talking about these gang members and the sign languages and all that. Are you guys doing anything different? Now see what I know that happened before all of that took place? Now that could be just something very simple. But what I know happened is, before the bailiff walked up to you and whispered in your ear, I noticed that the judge had called him over to him, and they had a conversation, and he left out. And he stayed out for however long he stayed out. And then the next thing I know, he came back, whispered in your ear, the judge looking, did his thing when you did yours. And when you touched your glasses, you felt very awkward. And I know how that feels, because I do that kind of thing, not switch my glasses because I don't wear glasses all the time. But I do that when I, like if I was driving and, I accidentally jump in front of somebody on the freeway, then I really didn't mean to, my right hand automatically just goes and rubs my head. And, I'm telling them I'm sorry, but my hand automatically just goes straight to those are signs of body language. that, people think that people are extraordinary because they can tell when you're lying. But no, your body kind of tells, and that's the only language that doesn't lie. It kind of gives you away. Certain things your little body is going to do when you do certain things. I don't know what that meant, but y'all don't have a good look to the world. Everybody knows. Nobody has seen Rico yet. And why y'all won't give Mr. Williams and those other men a bond? Now, those that are incarcerated, we know you can't give them a bond. Then we don't know that because you probably can give them a bond for the trial. I don't know what you can do. But I know y'all not operating in good faith. And what I thought was the weirdest thing in the world was when this man sent Mr. Copeland, Lil Woody, home, and then made an order for Mr. Steele. I'm not going to read this, but I've got to put this up and let y'all see this. So if anybody get this far or decide to look another day and just want something to look at, they can look at this and see. What kind of sense does this make? And I'm happy that he got to go home. He's just a witness. I don't understand why he even had to go through all of that. But y'all actually let him go home. I hope that his attorney get to strike everything he said out. I really do. I really hope that he files his complaint like he said he was going to. Because this is downright tyranny. But I just want everybody to see that the judge actually signed for this young man to go home. A man who was in a room possibly confessing and said he would be prosecuted if he did that. And then a man who's upholding the Constitution, which is what we're all supposed to do, he ends up with this. An honorable man ends up with an order to go to jail and deprive his client. This is unbelievable. Well, love and hip hop. Housewives of Atlanta. Married to Medicine. Preachers of LA. I've seen a lot of shows, but none top the performance that you guys are doing in that courtroom. And then for Miss Love to suggest that Mr. Melnick didn't care about his client was unbelievable. Or I should say unbelievable. It's really, these are some of the things that was said. It's unbelievable. For real, y'all. I mean, I've been shocked before. But on that note, I'm going to do what I do at this time. I leave out with Whitney Houston's My Version of The Greatest Love, because I truly believe the children are the future. If anybody got this far in the video, I greatly appreciate it. I'm going to keep doing what I love doing, and that is uplifting fallen humanity. If you like, hit the like, share, subscribe, consider joining my membership. If anything I said resonated with you, feel free to hit my Cash App or the super thanks. I hate that word thanks. I like thank you, but that's what they have, and so that's what it is. And check out my channel. I will be going live tonight at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. But for right now, I am leaving the tiger's den. Goodbye. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us who we used to be. Everybody's searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. So I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I failed, if I succeed, at least I'll live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of takes you to a lonely place, find yourself in love.